I feel emotions so deeply. My heart feels so full when I think back on past memories. And I don't mean just the happy memories. I mean also the ones that were so painful that I never thought I would survive them. When I revisit them, I just think about how full and vibrant life can be, and how beautiful it is to be able to feel so deeply. But not only do I feel deeply, but every time after I feel the intensity of life's vibrancy, I feel the incessant need to express it artistically. I just want to share these moments when life feels so full with the world. Because I am an artist and I am a storyteller. The first thing you should know about me is where I came from, where I want to go, and why. What motivates me. I just want to feel free. I was never able to sit still in one place. It was always second nature for me to be on the move, to find adventure wherever I went, to keep exploring until my dreams materialized, to be active and connected with nature. It's the freeing feeling of being able to do anything in this world. I just wanted to start off by saying thank you so much for watching my video, and thank you for finding my channel. I want to use my channel to share a feeling that I feel so deep in my heart, so deep in my bones, since when I could remember, since I was just a kid. So let me start my story off by telling you that I grew up in New Jersey, where there was grass and there was trees and there was city and there was all four seasons. And I loved being outside. Summer and spring were my favorite seasons. I loved to feel the grass under my feet. I loved to feel the wind rustling through my hair and hear the sound of the breeze and feel the wind come in through the windows on a warm summer night. To hear the cicadas when it was late summer change to a different noise. I really loved being immersed in nature. And New Jersey did have that to offer. It was somewhere that I grew up and lived for 25 years of my life. And I spent a lot of my summers at the beach, at the Jersey Shore, which the Jersey Shore wasn't known to be the best beaches, but nonetheless, for me, it felt like I was in paradise. And I would love to visit rivers and swimming holes, ponds, lakes. Something to me about being in nature and being outside and being active and feeling the sun on my face and doing things that I really loved and forming meaningful connections, something about all of that made me feel so close to life. And that's why I do what I do. That's why I'm a filmmaker. That's why I'm an artist. And I want this channel to be a place where I could share my story about finding this feeling constantly in life. Because the moments that I do find this feeling, it's invincible. It seems like it's impossible. It seems like it's magical. It seems to be an electric feeling. And quite simply, it's invincible. So let me bring you up to current date. I had lived in New Jersey for 25 years of my life. And now I'm living here in Las Vegas in the hot, barren desert. It was a big change for me. And I didn't exactly move out here on the usual terms where someone chooses to move somewhere. Life sort of brought me here after tragic circumstances. And
from those tragic circumstances and the way that I moved out here, a lot of good things actually happened and a lot of new beginnings.
I grew up in a very turbulent household. I was an only child, and my parents were very emotionally unstable. Their relationship was very confusing, and I was stuck being the mediator or the therapist for as long as I can remember, and it took its toll on me. I had a really difficult time connecting with other kids, not just because of all the emotional turmoil going on at home, but also because I was a first-generation immigrant whose first language wasn't English, who didn't have much access to the internet at the time, and I grew up in a town that was predominantly white, upper middle class people, and it made it very difficult for me to make friends because my parents weren't in the social circles. We lived in affordable housing in a really nice town, which the housing wasn't bad at all, not at all. It was where I grew up and lived. I am really grateful for that, but it was all of these factors that made it so difficult for me to fully be present in my childhood without having to grow up in a lot of ways that were unfair. I remember that it was really difficult living at home as a kid because there was constant loud fighting, and we lived in a pretty small space where I was forced to be in the middle of it, in the middle of all the chaos. So I was always really concerned for my father's mental health and physical health because he was the one who was financially supporting us, and I realized that from a really young age. And I was always trying to protect him when my mother would instigate issues with him, and I would plead with my mother that we need him to be in the best shape possible. And I was always afraid that my dad was one blow up from not making it or doing something to harm himself. And I worried about that since I was 7 or 8 years old. And the ironic thing is, my father passed away from liver cancer, from drinking himself to death when I was 25. I felt so scared, so lost, so angry, and all I could think of was where would I go and live now, because it wasn't an option for me to live with my mother after what had happened. Which brings the story here to Las Vegas. I never ever thought that this would happen so quick, but I became a homeowner. It was a very difficult process and a difficult few years, but I ultimately ended up owning my own home. I spent the last 4 years of my life healing here in Las Vegas. I experienced a completely different type of environment with being in the desert. I met an incredible gym community. I established some strong roots for my business, and it felt like I had a second chance at life. I say a second chance at life because in the past I have struggled with a lot of anxiety and long periods of depression where it felt so tiring and there seemed to be no end in sight. And it's not that I don't still experience those things, but because of the direction that my life has taken, I have a lot more control over things in my life, and I have better ways to alleviate the issue of anxiety and depression. And for that, I am so grateful. So what motivated me to even be able to get to this point? Although growing up was tough, there were a lot of moments where I experienced something magical in life. It was this feeling that felt magical. The way I describe it is, it's the feeling of being ItsVincible. And knowing that that feeling existed, it kept me going. Well, that concludes this first video. I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to watch this, and I hope that it has made an emotional impact on you in some way, shape, or form. And I hope that I was able to show you just a glimpse of the feeling of being ItsVincible and what that means to me. And so thank you for liking this video, for subscribing, and following me on this journey and seeing what else I create next. Thank you, guys.